Welcome to SuperTalk, a podcast hosted by Hillside Public Schools Superintendent Glover. The goal of SuperTalk is to provide an informative platform where Hillside Public School students, staff, and stakeholders can have a candid conversation with the district superintendent, as well as be spotlighted for their hard work and initiatives.
Good afternoon. Peace and blessings, Hillside Community School. Welcome to another episode, a long-awaited episode of Super Talk with Superintendent Glover, live from Hillside Public Schools. And today, I'm honored, I'm happy to introduce a new member to the Hillside Public School community, our new Director of Curriculum and Instruction, none other than Dr. Gretel Perez. Let's give a round of applause. Yay. Dr. Perez is joining us, as I said, as the new Director of Curriculum and Instruction. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, how you ended up here in Hillside.
So, hi everyone. I'm Dr. Gretel Perez. Originally from Newark, born and raised. My parents obviously came here from Latin America. My dad's Guatemalan, my mom is Peruvian. I do have an older brother. And what brought me here to Hillside was really the community that I saw being built, and what was being put forth to really bring the students forward and the educators, and I wanted to be a part of that change. I wanted to be a part of that foundation that was being built so that I could call myself a co-builder, and that's why I'm here, thankfully.
All right, a co-builder. We haven't used that one before. We're going to have to write that down and keep it in the memory bank. So Dr. Perez, you have an extensive resume. Yes. You've been in education outside of your own personal journey in education from childhood to adulthood, but you've been an educator and a leader for a while. Talk to us about why you wanted to become a leader. What led you to that space? Not everyone wakes up and says, hey, I know I want to be a principal, director, assistant superintendent, but share with us on how you arrived at the space of school leader.
It was really what made the transition for me to make that decision to go from classroom teacher to an administrator was my students. I wanted to be able to reach more students and support more teachers alongside me in bringing them all the resources, all the strategies that we could for them to really invigorate them and strengthen the potential that they have, and not just call it potential, but actually actualize it. So my kids were the ones that really made me say, it's time for me to exit the classroom. As difficult as it was, because I loved engaging with my kids. I loved talking to them. I loved getting to know them outside of the classroom. But it was time to really make that decision to really venture out there and reach more educators and more students. So,
if I'm not mistaken, from what I've learned and got to know about you, the content area that you're most passionate about is science.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So, although I have a strong passion for the arts, performing and visual arts, I have a very strong love for the sciences. And when I was leaving college, there was an opportunity for me to enter the education sector. I took it and I began teaching science to middle school urban students. And what really awed me about my kids was that ability to creatively and critically think, and how I was able to bring together both the scientific world and the artistic world in my classroom and see my kids really step up and really show me, I may not be where, my grades may not be where they need to be, but I'm right there with you. And I understand exactly what it is that you're looking for me to understand and learn. And that drove my instructional practices even further to really push them to really see themselves outside of how they were probably being looked at, which is test scores.
So here you have a Latina that loves the sciences. We're going to get into that drawing. I don't think I'll let that just slide by because I've actually seen your artistic creativity. So we're going to get into that in a minute. But here you have a Latina that is enjoying the sciences, enjoying her students in the classroom, but then sees that you can have a greater impact by being a leader.
Yes.
Who inspired you to marry your classroom ideologies and your perspectives with that leadership lens and in a very scientific way?
My father. My father was the individual who honed on from a very early age that desire to not only be better, but to know more. He was my first curator. He was the first explorer that I went on when I went to museums, when I went to trips with him. He really introduced me to what was out there, and he didn't limit me and what I could do just because of where we were growing up. And so, having worked in an urban school sector, I wanted to bring that to my kids. I didn't want them to see themselves as being from an urban area and they were only able to go to a certain extent. I wanted to do for them what my father did for them. And I think for the most part of my career, I've been able to do that, not just in the classroom, from the classroom standpoint, but also from an administrative lens, where I've been able to bring in programs and bring in opportunities for them that expose them to different things in our 21st century.
Yeah, I don't know if the audience can capture it, but the audience will see that little dimple came out when you started talking about your father and the joy he brought to you. I know your father has since passed, but when you think about what you were exposed to as a child yourself, how do you ensure those same things happen for students today?
It's like I said, it's all about exposure. It's what we bring into the classroom. It's how we are talking about lessons. It's how we're asking questions. It's how we're getting to know our students primarily, and tailoring our instruction and tailoring our strategies that'll bring out the best from them. And it'll help them feel comfortable, or more than comfortable, learning from us and trusting us. Because learning is, it comes from trust. It's a relationship. We were around people that we like, that make us feel safe. And when we have those parameters of safe and culturally diverse opportunities in a classroom, our kids will naturally want to learn more and want to do more.
I'm going to ask you a question. What can science do for the students of today? Let you think about that. And what can great leaders do for the students of today?
So what science can do for our kids is definitely really bring them to a point where they're thinking critically. They're not just accepting first responses. They're not just accepting what they're being told. They get an opportunity to research it, to test it, to see how it works for them, to see how it can work better. How many iterations can we come up with something? So I think that's definitely what science can do, is it sets up the platform for them. It's like a springboard of exploring, of questioning, of becoming acquirers. What can we as educators do is...
What can we as leaders do?
What can we as leaders do? We can provide for them those programs, those resources, those opportunities in the classroom by way of supporting our teachers and how to reach our kids scientifically. How do we use a scientific method in the classroom? How do we really connect what they're learning in science to what they're doing every day outside once they leave? I think it's really about making it more relevant for them so that they see it's not just science when they're in science, it's science all the time. So I think that's really important, to really just bring those authentic learning experiences into the classroom and making our kids see how they're surrounded by that every day.
Someone pose a question to you. An audience for you, if you don't know, you can sense the central theme is around leadership in science. The fact that we have a new director of curriculum and instruction who is coming to the table with a lens of inquiry, and science is very inquiry-based, speaks to where I think the department is going to be going, where I think we're going to be taking our students, the journey we're going to take our educators and our leaders on in order to reach that scientific mindset. But I want people to get an insight into what your vision and your ideal classroom environment would look like. So ponder this question. I come running into your office and I say, Dr. Perez, great news. I've just been given a grant for you to design your model science classroom for a middle school here in Hillside. This will be the gem of the gem. The media is ready for it. You have 1 year to plan, develop, and get it to a space where we can introduce that space to our students. What does that classroom space look like? The grant is unlimited. We're not going crazy. It's not multi-million dollars, but it's a $1 million grant that allows us to create an innovative space for science inquiry for middle school students. What does that classroom look like?
Oh,
And you get to design it, the Dr. Gretel Perez Scientific Lab of Learning.
I think the Scientific Lab of Learning would definitely be full of questions, full of leaders, thought leaders, not just the typical ones that we know of, Albert Einstein, but also seeing individuals that reflect our students and that really serve as an inspiration for our kids. I would certainly bring in, aside from the gadgets like 3D printers and lab apparatuses and workbooks and resources and digital platforms for them, I definitely want to ensure that they also have instructors who are well-versed in not just the pedagogical components of science, but also know how to build relationships with their students. I think that's always the important thing when we're looking at a science classroom, and make it look lively, make it look inviting, reflective of what our kids are learning, reflective of how our kids can see themselves in future in past thought leaders and become them themselves.
Any unique areas that don't exist now that you want to introduce and see?
Yes, I definitely want to see more of STEM becoming more visible in our classes, and really having our students see how these content areas are interdisciplinary, because we sometimes approach subjects just as in isolation, and we need to show them how they all build on each other, that then in many respects they can be interdependent. And I think that for our students to see how these different fields, how math can build on science and vice versa, and how ELA further supports what they're learning and how to write and express themselves, I think we would be speaking to the whole student and not just parts of a student.
What does it mean to you to be a Latina educator who has come from parents who are immigrants to this country?
Yes.
Grew up in a community that was very diverse. You've been able to experience education in a variety of districts across the state of New Jersey. But what does it mean for you at this point in time in your life to be a Latina educator?
I feel both accomplished, that I was able to surpass even my father's dreams. My father had once said that he couldn't see, all he could dream for us was to get a college education. He couldn't see further than that. And he didn't realize once we received our doctor, my brother and I both got our doctorates at the same time. He said, I didn't think I could dream that big. So it's both feeling accomplished that I was able to surpass the expectations that my parents had, but also I feel inspired that given my background, given where I was raised, given the barriers that were in place growing up, that my father, my family still pushed us forward. And that's why I got into education, because I wanted to continue to push many of our students, especially our students of color, forward to say, yeah, that can be you. That can be you one day. Whether it's a science teacher, whether it's an engineer, whether it's an artist on stage, that's you. Don't limit yourself by where you're from or where your parents came from, because dreams are big, and that's why they're meant to be big. And they can certainly come true.
You've had an opportunity to walk the halls of all of our schools here in Hillside, our mighty 7. And in walking the halls, what have you seen as those variables, those visual aids, those aha moments that help you say, this is why I need to be here?
I've said it many times, and it still rings true. It's the kids. It's walking into the hallways and seeing a student actually make eye contact and smile and say good morning to me. They don't know me, I'm new. And when I introduce myself, it's a big smile. And I got that from not just our middle school and elementary schools, but especially in the high school, to come across such incredible young ladies, incredible young men who can say good morning, excuse me, thank you. And even one said, welcome. It made me feel really good. And even when I walk into the classrooms as part of my walkthroughs, that they look to make that eye contact, to connect. The fact that our students are looking for someone to connect with them, and I'm connecting with them back, that goes a long way for me, and it just re-cements why I'm here, and I'm happy to be here.
You started in August, hit the ground running, as I say, boots on the ground, not to, use any metaphors of songs that are out there today. And you just finished 2 solid months. Talk about where you want to take the district and as far as curriculum and instruction goes. And I know we want to do things a lot faster many times, but you've been very intentional. You've asked a lot of questions, but you've also begun to put your thumbprint in some spaces. Talk about what your blueprint says that this is what we need to do.
I think we definitely have to continue to build and strengthen our leadership in our schools. I think we have to continue to support our leaders and ensure that the programs and resources that we have in place are not just aligned to the goals, but are being used in a manner that supports what our students need and also what our teachers need as well. So for me, it's continuing to build on what's been put in our foundation. We have good bones. Now I need to support that even further by now working more alongside with the administrative team and having them see the CNI department as an extension of support for them, and where we're walking alongside with them and not from a distance. We're actually right there in the trenches with them, understanding what's happening in the buildings, meeting the kids, meeting the teachers, hearing from the teachers, hearing from the students about what's working and not working. I think that'll help us strengthen the framework that we currently have so that we can continue to build that in years to come.
Yeah. Let's shift gears a little bit. This month we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. And we've already touched a little bit upon the fact that you come from two parents of Guatemalan and Peruvian legacy and lineage. And here you are again. This past weekend, if I'm not mistaken, we had the opportunity to celebrate, and you brought a guest with you. Talk to us about the guest that you brought with you and how that made you feel to see that guest, and talk about that guest celebrating with us this past Saturday.
So I brought my mother. My mother is a ray of sunshine. My mother is, like many mothers, has a story. And the fact that she was able to come and celebrate and feel a part of the community and celebrate with the community just reminded me why we're here doing what we do. Because she joined in the celebration. She represented her country, my father's country. She asked for the Peruvian flag to be painted on one side, the Guatemalan flag to be painted on the other side, because she still represents him. So I appreciate her always having my father at the forefront when we're together. But I think seeing her alongside another mother of one of our principals, celebrating, really just strengthening those relationships that I've been building, and having people see another part of me on a personal level by bringing my mom, that's a reason why I'm here. And who, with her poncho and all, she was dancing it up, and it made me proud. It made me proud of my native roots. I'm an American product, but I'm a native seed. So I am so proud to just be here and have the opportunity to share my story, and not just connect with fellow administrators and fellow teachers, but even connect with students who are looking for that connection as well.
Mom was dancing. Mom was getting it in. How old is Mom?
78.
78 years young. It was the weather was a little off. Mom didn't skip a beat. Mom came to the festival, and Mom was dancing, and she was walking, and she was socializing, she was hugging, she was enjoying herself, came to the football game, the pink out football game, and stayed and endured the elements of Mother Nature as it rained on us. But it was beautiful to see, and very inspirational. And I thank you for sharing and allowing your mother to share time. It was a funny story. We're standing there and we're talking, and Dr. Perez says, "Where's my mother?" I said, "Don't worry, she left you." Mom wanted some time. And Mom was exploring. I think Mom went and got ice cream or something.
She went to go get ice cream.
Mom was at the ice cream.
She was speaking to the fire department.
So it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So I appreciate you bringing your mother and allowing her to see us. And right away, she jumped right in. That's a testament to who you are.
And bringing her is a testament to the leadership that you've developed here, and the community that I felt early on, because I wanted her to see where I worked.
Yeah. Mom was excited. Mom gave me a hug, and I love the international hugs because it comes with a different level of energy, especially the old school motherly hug. I felt like, okay, this is good. So we always throw surprises, and I think one of the things that I was very appreciative of when you applied, went through the interview process, and I got to know you a little bit and over the months, is that I want to throw another surprise at our community, because I think it's important to know who we have. So in the course of us communicating, I've learned that you are trilingual.
Yes.
Say a little something to the folks in any of the native tongues that you so fluently speak.
Bonjour, je suis très heureuse d'être là. And siento un honor inmenso de estar aquí en el distrito, y me alegra poder compartir todo eso con ustedes. Y that's really it. J'espère vous faire très heureuse de moi.
Now,
so I hope to make all of you happy of me or with me.
Now, a little surprise, folks. I didn't tell you. Yes, speaks French, Spanish, English?
Yes.
And whatever other native tongue that's convenient at the time. That's beautiful. Where did you learn to speak French at?
So my father had sent me to Essex County College to learn to take French classes when I was 10. And I had such a love for the languages then, and I continued that when I was in high school. Took French for 4 years. Then I studied it in college, and then there was an opportunity to study abroad my senior year.
Oh, okay.
And I studied art.
We didn't forget about that. We didn't forget about that.
Art history and the Renaissance, as well as I took French classes at La Sorbonne.
Oh, my wife
So I
would
was
love.
there
My
for a
wife
semester.
would love talking to you because she just knows it. And of course, she's French. Okay.
So that's how I learned French, and I keep up with it by listening to music in French. I watch movies in French as much as possible. I read a lot of the articles in French when things happen so that I can see what the different languages are and the uses between Spanish and French, because they're very similar. So I do my best to keep up with it. I do want to get more individuals that I can actually actively speak with as opposed to just listening to the music and reading it, so that gives me an opportunity to not lose my accent. Although I have a Spanish accent when I speak French, but I want to be able to certainly develop that further.
Our population of Haitian Creole students is very large here in Hillside. Do you feel comfortable being able to speak to our community of Haitian Creole students? I know it's different dialects and I know it's different words, but
Absolutely. I think any opportunity that I have to speak with families and have them feel that they're being heard, that being seen, and that there's someone there that's making the effort to address them in their native tongue as best as possible, I think it'll certainly help me to be a better administrator and a better, community member.
yeah. Intentionality, folks. There was intention around me hiring this beautiful sister right here. It was intentional. I think part of the fact is I feel sometimes I'm at a deficit when I walk in spaces, and that's a fault of mine. I mean, the foreign languages that I took in high school and in college, I do not use, have not used, so I always walk in spaces jealous when people can speak multiple languages. I think that's a major asset. So lesson learned, don't ever be ashamed of the fact that you may be able to communicate in multiple languages. You're very much an asset. And so you bring another asset to the district.
Thank
So
you.
you bring your wisdom and your years of experience. You bring your scientific knowledge as a science teacher. You bring your love and passion for your community, your family, and you bring your ability to communicate with a diverse population of students. So you sit here and say, well, what else, Superintendent Glover, does Dr. Perez do? Little story, Dr. Perez was interviewing. I think it was her second or third interview that she was going through. And, there's the waiting room space. And sometimes we do that intentionally just to kind of see how people respond to and how patient they are. Well, she started to draw. And when I tell you in a matter of about 15 minutes, she had sculpted out and she said she was just playing around. And I said, wow, what she did was just playing around. You could take to the market and sell. And so I immediately knew we have a talented gem in our district. Someone who's coming with, to just understand, to draw activates a different part of your mind. To think scientifically activates a different, and then still think in a higher ed space, to be able to self-reflect, to be critical, and then just be down to earth. So I saw a well-rounded individual, and then I got jealous all over. Speaks French, I can't speak that. My wife loves to speak French, she does. I can't speak it. Speak Spanish, can't talk to my sister-in-law and my nieces because they speak Spanish. And then my brother's the artist, he got all the art gene, I'm just telling my story, and I can't do that either. So what do I have to offer to this community? Me. But with that being said, here you are, and I said, we have to see how we tap into that talent. So talk to us about art. What does art bring to you? And what does that do for you? Where did you learn it? I'm jealous. I'm just so jealous when I sit here and talk to you. Art, can you sing?
Not well.
Oh,
I can, but
I was about to say,
not well.
now I'm about to turn the mic over to you and say, I'm done.
Oh, no.
I'm just talking. I'm just chatting.
That'll be
But-
a wrap for this podcast.
But talk to us about your artistic abilities. And you talked about you got a chance to study, but where did that evolve? How did that evolve?
So I believe a large part of that is due to my genetics. My father was a painter. And so art seems to run in our family, both the performing and the visual arts. And from a young age, I would see my father painting. And so I would always bring my coloring book or my pencils and paper, and I would draw alongside him. And so when he saw that, he again enrolled me in Saturday classes at Essex County just to develop that. And he would take me to museums. And just that exposure to what was out there and what I could do, and then having someone take the time. Yes, he was my father, but he taught me early on what it takes how you can grow a child when you just take time to invest in them. And he took the time to take me. He didn't know much about all the pieces that we would see in the art galleries, but he exposed me to them. He may not have known a lot about what was happening in the Natural Museum of History, but he exposed me to that. And I think that's what our kids need, is that exposure, is that someone that can bring them there. So even thinking back to that classroom, that state of the art, I was certainly invested in our educators and having them see what they can do, how they can expose, and how they can speak to our kids. You know, you have visual learners, you have kinesthetic learners, you have musical learners, you have verbal learners. I was a visual learner, so even in science class I was drawing. But somehow I was able to connect that to what I had to do in school. And I think that our students have so much potential and so many gifts and skills that we can capitalize on. And so I would certainly, in my ideal scientific class, it would be opportunities for them to learn computers here, books here, stage here, so that they can present and debate on scientific topics. Drawing and making drawings of anatomical drawings. Just, make comic strips of what's happening, in genetics or anything like that. Just really showing them all the different ways of how they can express themselves scientifically, and really also tapping those $1 million resources in our staff so that they can see how they can build and grow their kids like my father did me.
Folks, I don't know if you just realize what just happened in this period of time that we've been conversing. We've talked about the importance of building relationships as we want to connect our kids to the content, but it has to start with relationships. We talked about the investment of time. And time, notice we didn't talk about not only fiscal resources. I said if you had your dream $1 million classroom, what would that look like? But something that you mentioned, and I want this to resonate with our parents, you don't have to have money to go to the museum. You don't have to have money to see the talent in your children and recognize I need to invest. And I'm sure the courses that took place at Essex County, sometimes they have free offerings sometimes, but it's just a matter of just tapping into the talent of the child that you have in front of you. Relationships, time, inquiry, let children be children and explore, listening to them, seeing them, allow your creative juices to come out. Dr. Perez just shared a lot of things. I'm excited. I'm excited for what you're going to do for the Department of Curriculum and Instruction. I'm excited what you're going to bring to the students of Hillside. She has so many other talents. I mean, in 25 minutes, we can't capture it all. However, I think as you get a chance to talk to Dr. Perez, you see her walking across our campuses, and you see her sitting down talking with students, engage with her. Ask her questions. You're going to see her in the hallway. Now, I will say, there's a height difference in between Dr. Perez and myself. So in the course of the crowd, she might not look over them, but she's still very visible, and she's going to speak to you. Stop her and engage in the conversation. Don't use her as your reason not to go to class, especially in the high school. but stop, have conversations, and get to know Dr. Perez. Dr. Perez, leave us with some unique, I didn't know that about you.
So one very easy one is I have an older brother named Hansel, and my first name is Gretel. And so we're not twins, and allegedly my mom didn't know about the story Hansel and Gretel, but that is my fun fact for the families.
Now, we're dating ourselves because many of the audience might not know who Hansel and Gretel are. So now this is a good literacy opportunity. Go to the library and say, I want the book about Hansel and Gretel, and then come back and talk to Dr. Perez about that. What else would you say, fun fact about Dr. Perez, before I drop a little nugget that I know?
Oh, God. I'm very athletic. I love sports. I love to run. I love to play basketball. I love to play soccer. Still to this day. I love riding my bike. I love dancing. Especially, I used to be the African dance co-coach when I was a public school teacher, just because I love culture.
I'm just gonna drop the mic. Like, what don't you do, right? Right? So I thought I was talented. Now I'm like, nah. Go ahead, Dr. Perez. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom.
Well, I just love culture, and I grew up in a household that, despite the fact we were born and raised in America, my father still celebrated our heritage. More my mom than my dad, because my father was very conservative. And that gave me such a love of learning about other cultures. And so I love to dance. I love to learn, cultural dances. And how I got into African dance was through a coworker of mine who took classes and was also she had her own dance program going on. And I said, I want to do that. And so she showed me, and then we both became co-dance teachers. And I just loved it, just the rhythm, just the beats, how can you not relate to anybody when you just have that music that unites you? And so for me, that's what I'm driven by. And, going back to what I had said before, it's just the opportunities you bring to class. It doesn't have to be so traditional. It's just bring those activities to them. Bring dance into the science classroom. I did it. Bring art into the classroom. I did it. Bring acting into the classroom. I did it. And debate in the classroom. It's possible. It's a way to really bridge all these interdisciplinaries together and tap into those kids. And I think having our teachers grow our kids the way the parents grow them and see them and tap into those potentials that they have, I think we're definitely going to go a long way, especially with the framework that you've already set up for us.
Hey, listen, it's beautiful. Now, I was just going to mention that Dr. Perez has a zoo in her house. Oh. But, I mean, she dropped a whole bunch of other nuggets about sports. But that's okay, because I learned, I didn't know you love soccer, and you still play. I coach soccer. We had to trade stories. I didn't know you played basketball.
As point guard and goalkeeper.
Look at that. Dr. Perez is a multi-talented individual. How many pets you have? Yeah, you see?
12.
Today.
That's why I said 12.
Because you could go home and see, oh, he's such a cute little cat.
Sure enough. That's for sure.
Most unique animal in your home?
Oh. I would say my cats.
How many?
9. That was not on purpose. They were, we took in the last one. To be fair, we took in the last one, and she happened to be a stray. She was abandoned, and she got pregnant, and so we didn't want to split the family.
She got pregnant in your house, or she got pregnant on the street?
No, she was pregnant on the street. And then when we took her in, she was already pregnant, and we couldn't leave her outside. We didn't have the heart to leave her outside and raise the kiddies out there and just have them contribute to just whatever's going on in the streets. And so we brought them in, and we got some triplets at the house.
Speaks to your heart. Hillside, I do believe that we have brought forth a beautiful, unique, multi-talented, multifaceted Latina to our community. I know she's going to be an asset to our students, our staff. And I think as we get to know you and get to see you, we're going to enjoy being around you. And you're going to make sure that we know who you are. You're going to make sure Hillside stays on the map for the right reasons. I love it. Can you cook?
Oh, yes.
She didn't mention that. So that's part 2. So next time we'll do our Heritage Festival around food and fun. Oh. I'm sure she has a lot of stories around that. Final words.
I'm just really incredibly humbled to be here, to be a part of this community, to be a part of what's been built, and to continue the legacy that we have. And I thank you for allowing me to be in front of your kids and in front of what opportunities they have, and for entrusting what we're trying to do for them, what we're doing for them, and what we're going to do for them moving forward even more.
Hillside Public Schools, Dr. Gretel Perez. Let's give a shout out to her. Let's remember to continue to support all of our breast cancer survivors, those who are currently dealing with the challenges. I have a good colleague right now. She is dealing with it. Shout out to you. You know who you are, superintendent here in Union County. We also want to make sure that we give praise and respect to the ancestors, those who may not have been able to survive, but we still invoke your name and love you. This is Hispanic Heritage Month. It ends tomorrow, October
Yes.
15th. It's been a beautiful month to celebrate, but we don't have to stop just on the one day. We celebrate it all the time because we celebrate who we are. Our identity doesn't stop just and be defined by just one month. It is always a part of everything we do. And who knows, soon you may be able to sit right up here and be a superintendent, a director, lead a district, lead your own company, and be the trendsetter that we need to see.
right.
Let's get it, let's go. Stand up, Hillside.